loves, my name is Jessica and welcome to my channel. Let's just jump right on into this American Horror Story Cult episode 10 review. Now, spoiler alert ahead. If you are watching this, I assume you've already seen the episode. If you haven't, get off of YouTube and watch the freaking episode. I'm going to, say everything that happened in this episode because that's the way I am. So, let's get right on into Charles Manson, these are parentheses, in charge. I came up with a brief logline because there's just so many standout scenes I have to talk about, so I don't want to go through the whole episode. So here's my kind of pitiful but sums it up logline. Kai decides his group needs to take a lesson from Manson as he prepares his move into Senate and then later on a presidency. Winter seeks to make amends specifically with Bev, and Ali shows loyalty to Kai. I do that because, is it real loyalty? It's loyalty to save her own ass is what I get the gist of. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, it's not a standout scene, but I think it's important to, comment about this. We know how Kai met Bebe, who was involved with Valerie Salonis. Bebe was, so her name is Bebe, not Bibi, so sorry for the mispronunciation a few reviews ago. Bebe was his anger management counselor. Now, whether, that she was really his anger management counselor or if she set it up that way to get to Kai to try and put her own movement and make Kai continue Valerie's movement, I don't know. Point is, we know how they met. We know the history with that and what Bebe put into Kai's mind about trying to make female rage be born. It was honestly, I had a hard time following that dialogue because it was just so a subtext dialogue and weird dialogue. Another scene I feel like I need to shout out, and that's not really in my standout scenes, is the flashback with Tex, Sadie, Flower, and Linda. I know I kind of used nicknames with their real names, but I had to shout that out because, the actresses that play these three followers of Manson is Sarah Paulson, Leslie Grossman, who played Meadow, and Billy Lord, who plays Winter. I just really like how they keep going, we've been seeing Evan Peters playing all these cult leaders. I like how they kind of just kept the same consistency with their current actors, actresses playing these cult followers and cult leaders as well. I just think it's very smart of them and also adds some subtext and foreshadowing in a way in the episode series itself. Standout scenes. I say this in every review. My obsession with Evan Peters is never going to stop. It only grows. I'm so captivated by him, and this was before we see Evan Peters actually play Manson in this. I wrote, Evan obsession on my paper here before we even saw his portrayal as Manson. Just the way he is Kai with the yelling and screaming and just all of, the acting and the heart and just everything he puts into it, he's just so captivating to watch. So my standout scenes, they don't really happen until the last 30 minutes of the episode. I felt like up until my first real standout scene, I felt like the episode was kind of dragging just a little bit, or it was slow. I'm going to note that I didn't know that this was a longer episode. It went, started at 7 and went off at 8:10. So it probably was an average of a 50-minute episode, excluding commercials, or 48 minutes versus, 40. But I just thought it was kind of slow, but I also didn't know that this was a longer episode. Alright, my first real standout scene is they killed Gary. They set him up essentially that they're going to go to Planned Parenthood to steal the list of the abortion list. I'm not too sure what list they were stealing, but it was basically a setup to get Gary trapped in there. And when he's trapped, the cult and their clown masks surround him, and it's just, I didn't really expect that, although I should have, because Kai is just really going to use whether they're male or female, of his, you know, cult following. He's just going to use them for himself. Gary doesn't want to die, of course, and Kai actually is the one that kills him. And I think that almost says a lot about Kai. Maybe not like a true friendship, but Gary was like his first following, the first one he had. But it's the rest of the cult that murders Gary, and they use Gary to put his slaughtered body in front of Planned Parenthood. And this is kind of like Kai is using this to challenge the senator, because he's just trying to call out the senator, basically, because the senator does not take Kai seriously. That was one of my standout scenes, because I didn't expect them to kill Gary, basically. I just think it even shows even more, even though the audience already knows, but I think it can start showing to the characters even more that Guy really doesn't give a damn about his following or not. It's all about himself, and he's going to use every single person as a rung in the ladder just to get up to his ultimate goal of, you know, Senate and presidency. Probably my favorite scene of this episode, of the season, one of my favorite scenes probably from the show, is Kai's basically cracked more than usual. He's hearing this buzzing sound. He believes that the feds are going after him. So while he's digging around for this buzzing sound, he just can't take it anymore. So he runs upstairs and locks himself in with his parents' bodies. And he's talking to himself, being like, you know, trying to think like, okay, who's it going to be? Who's this mole? Who's trying to set me up? And then all of a sudden, Vincent's body sits up. And he's talking to him and talking to Kai. And Vincent is saying, like, you know, you're the master of the balls. And Kai is like, I shouldn't have killed you. And then all of a sudden Vincent gets stabbed. His body drops. And then Evan Peters as Manson is there, and Manson's like, why are you talking to him? You should be talking to me. I'm the master of things. There's a mole. You need to get it out. You can't trust the bitches. You need to eliminate your Judas. That's the one thing Manson, did not do. So that's what Kai believes he has to do, is eliminate his Judas. I just thought it was so much more fresh. In the past episodes, we have seen the cult leaders, you know, Evan Peters as the cult leaders in flashbacks as Kai is telling stories to his cult about these other leaders that he's trying to follow footsteps in and using them as teachers and such like that. And I just thought it was more fresh that they had Manson, like the leader of all cult leaders, like the iconic of, you know, cult leaders, whatever, that he's a hallucination to Kai, that we don't see him in a flashback. It was just more fresh to see him as a hallucination for, like, Kai and Manson to kind of be going head to head. Manson getting more into Kai's scattered, scrambled mind. And I just really, really liked that scene. Like, it was a surprise to see, you know, Vincent's body being hallucinated and talking to Kai, and then it was even more so that, oh, Manson stabs him on the bed and is talking all this stuff into Kai's head. It was fantastic. It was just really enjoyable to watch that scene. That sounds weird to use the word enjoyable, but I'm sure you guys know what I mean. The next standout scene is Allie kills Bebe. Basically, I think what Kai said in the interview with Beverly pisses Bebe off, because he uses Valerie's words that, you know, she would preach about back in the day. And so Baby's like, you know, you're not following the rules that I had for you, blah, blah, blah. And Kai's like, did you really think that I was just going to be, you know, stuck on the whole female bullshit thing and everything like that? And so Baby's going to kill Kai. And then what I mean earlier in my log line by Allie proving her loyalty is that Allie shoots Bebe, and she has no idea who Bebe is. Then we have Manson, the hallucination again, saying like, now that bitch is not your mole because she just saved you. So I just really like that scene, because again, it's kind of Allie is, I feel like Allie's really playing Kai, especially defending Kai, protecting him, things like that. So that's why that scene stood out to me, was just, we know kind of what Allie's ulterior motive really is, and she's just really got Kai by the strings, and probably be really, you know, Kai's not going to be expecting of it. My next few scenes just kind of run into each other. So we're going to start with Kai and Winter. They're in the bathroom. She cuts off his hair and then she starts shaving him, and we just get this very tense yet kind of heartwarming brother and sister conversation. They kind of have this like intimate conversation about like, why do you want to hurt me? And Winter says, no, you're very important to me. I love you, but I do need to get away from you because I'm terrified of you. And if I don't get away right now, then I'm afraid that terror is all I'm going to see and feel when I look at you. So in order to continue loving you, I need to leave so I can come back and support you, because I'm the only person that's ever going to be there. And Kai agrees to that. Kai is like, yeah, you are the only one that is ever going to love me. You're the only one who really understands me and still talks to me. And so Kai tells her it's okay to leave. And then we get the part that I didn't really expect. So earlier in my logline I said Winter attempts to make amends, and by that I'm of course referring to the scene that Winter goes to Beverly and gives Beverly a train ticket to Montana, basically feeling guilty and saying, you can get away, you don't need to stay here, I will cover your ass. We get back to the scene with Winter and Kai says, you can go away, I even know where you can go. You can go to Montana. In fact, I got an Amtrak ticket for you. The exact words that Winter said to Beverly, so we assume Beverly ratted Winter out and probably maybe said that Winter's the one who killed Harrison. I'm not sure about that, but we definitely get the sense, like, how else would Kai know about the train ticket if Beverly wasn't the one to give it to him and tell him. This is still continuing my standout scenes. Like, the last three, they all run into each other. They're all at the end. The cult surrounds Winter, and Winter is like, I'm not the mole, Kai. And, okay, I loved that, like, you know, Kai's holding this tracker bug thing that looks like a Fitbit tracker, and the whole episode I'm like, that looks like what I have in my, you know, on my wrist right now. So I am happy that like Winter's like, that's a Fitbit tracker. So I don't know, that was just, I don't know, I just like that. And Winter's like, pinky power, you know I can't lie if we're doing pinky power. And Allie is the one that's like, oh, I found the phone in the truck, the ice cream truck we were debugging, like, why did you put it there? And the tracker was sewn into Kai's pillow or something like that. I don't remember, but it's basically Allie's pinning it all on Winter, and Winter is like, why aren't you believing me? Of course it's Allie. If she's the one that found all these things, it's Allie. And Kai just wants her to confess, and Winter can't because she has nothing to confess. And then we have Manson appearing behind Winter. The Manson who has the swastika, you know, he's just like, you have to do it. And Kai chokes Winter to death. And I did not want that to happen, but kind of knew it was going to happen. I felt like, okay, 50% of me believed that he's not going to hurt Winter because he does love her so much. And then I'm like, but it's also Kai. He's so unpredictable and so kind of just selfish and only thinking of how he can get to the top, not, you know, the other people. It's the rung in the ladders, as I said earlier. But what is different about this murder that Kai is doing, he's so emotional. This is probably the most emotional we've seen Kai in the whole entire season. This is definitely the most emotional that we've seen Kai when he's killing someone. He's sobbing and crying. He's more emotional than when he killed Vincent. And then once, you know, Winter stops breathing, Kai kisses Winter on the forehead. And it was just a very emotional scene. Like, you know that Kai really did love and care for Winter, as he said he did, specifically in the bathroom scene, where it was a very, going back to the talk of how he says a memory of Winter was scared to get her hair cut because she was afraid it was going to hurt. So Kai gets his hair cut first to show her it's not going to hurt you and it's okay. And that kind of younger brother relationship still exists. But then on the other side of things, it shows just how Kai really is going to do everything. And I think when Kai kills Winter, this is a wake-up call to the cult itself. It wasn't just Allie and Beverly and Speedwagon who were showing emotion on their face. I felt like it was a fair few of them that it's going to be maybe a wake-up call that if he did that to his sister, then yeah, he's just going to use and dump me, basically. So it was a very emotional performance, an emotional scene to watch, but it was really well executed. And then we get into my final standout scene. Is we have Speedwagon, who runs out of the basement and he goes into his car and he unbuttons his shirt and pulls off all the wires and smashes it. So he definitely feels the guilt because he's the mole. I did not really, I kind of thought it was going to be one of the cult members of the men side was going to be the mole, because they were trying to pin it on the women too easily, and there's only, you know, like 3 women. So now 2 women. So Speedwagon was the mole, and he's of course feeling really guilty about what just happened, that Winter was murdered at his expense. And as Speedwagon is pulling off all these wires and everything, Allie gets into the car and she's just kind of like, hi Speedwagon. Like, I don't know if it was Allie and Speedwagon who came up with it, or originally I thought if it wasn't one of the male cult members that it was Allie that was putting all of this into Kai's head to kind of make him go more crazy, essentially, to break him. So I feel like Allie can still be behind this whole the feds or after Kai thing, and that there's bugs and such. But I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait until the next episode, which is the finale. Those were my standout scenes and my basic thoughts. Overall, I did really like the episode. As I said before, I felt like it was a little slow, but then it really picked up towards the ending, which all of my standout scenes lied. And I'm excited to see the finale, and I can't really predict how it's gonna go down. I do feel like the girls, or Allie, is going to win. I don't know if Kai is going to be killed. He might just be locked up forever like Manson is, but I'm just anxious to see how it goes down. So overall, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. I was going to go with 7.5 or 7, not gonna lie, but I went with an 8 because of my 6 standout scenes that really made this episode great, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below. How do you think this finale is going to play out? If you haven't seen the rest of my cult reviews, they'll be linked down below and in a card either on that side or this side. I don't ever remember what side it is. And please come back next week. Hopefully the next week's review will be up Tuesday night, or like, you know, Tuesday night / Wednesday morning, like at 1 a.m. or some crazy hour like that. And I'll see you next week. Hopefully we get all the answers and it's a satisfying ending. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to love others, but first and foremost, always love yourself, because you're beautiful no matter what anyone else says. Bye.